What's your problem? Deals. On the stage right now is the Vreeland Capital team. So what we're gonna get into is about teamwork, engagement, how to make all the stuff happen to grow 10x. Because you cannot do it alone. It is impossible. We're gonna talk about the 80% approach. Now, I don't want any modesty in the room, but raise your hand if you got A's in school. This 80% approach for you guys, this will be completely counterintuitive. It will be soul-wrenching for you, but you're gonna have to learn to do it. Who here got B's? I was a B guy. Who here got C's? The C and B people, really the C's are gonna love this approach. There's three main dangers to never achieving financial freedom. It's lack of confidence, procrastination, and lack of teamwork. Being a solopreneur, being somebody who can't work on teams. So those are the three dangers. The 80% approach is designed to eliminate those dangers. So I'm gonna have my team go along and introduce yourself.
I'm Christy Mercer. So nice to meet every single one of you.
It started as EA, and I would now call it as firewoman and event coordinator now. Who's in the room that Christy sold him a house? So when we thought of this idea, hey, Christy, sell the houses, Christy was like, oh, but I'm not a salesperson. That was shocking to me. Anybody believe that?
I'm Tony Buzzolacci. I'm the project manager for Make Readies.
My name's Bobby Coe. I run iBuySTL, so I find a portion of the houses that you guys buy.
My name is Connor Doherty. I'm the coordination of action officer, and I make sure that all the businesses from property management to construction company, making sure people silence their phones during events, make sure everyone's talking, communicating, where there's gaps in the businesses, fill them in, and get things going to where they need to be.
Hello, I am Rhonda Howard. I'm the property manager, so I'm going to manage all your houses.
My name is Tiffany Mooney. I am the leasing manager, so I am going to be finding those wonderful residents to move into them.
Hey everybody, I'm Alex, head of construction. Besides keeping Tony in line, making the houses that look like turds when you buy them, put some shine on them for you.
The 80% approach. This relieves so much guilt that I had about how I operated in the world. When I was in sales, I didn't understand why I could do the big fun sale, and then all the detail work was absolute garbage. I felt guilty about it. I felt bad about it. And then when I finally heard about this approach, I was just like, oh my God, this is a miracle. This is a miracle. I can operate on this. You can be like, Jimmy, that's awesome. Thank you. Then this is what I see people struggling with when they come into cash flow tactics community. Like, we have to train people on the 80% approach. I just want your new favorite number to be 80. You will see 80s everywhere you go. Who can say what the Pareto principle is? 20% of effort gives 80% of results. That's what 10x is built off of. That's definitely what this 80% is built off of. And so 80% is everywhere. It's hiding in plain sight. Like the universe, I know there's a lot of people really stressing out about everything being exactly the same and everything being exactly equal, but it just doesn't happen in nature. Who here knew this? This was a science fun fact, but 20% of the planets have 80% of the mass of the universe. I didn't know that until I read this. 20% of the artists, music, books, and art that's purchased, 20% of those people make up 80%. People most concerned about fairness are generally artists, but they live in the most unfair industry. It's amazing. Like, for every Stapleton, there's 100 people moaning away singing blues in the honky-tonks. For how many books are written every year? Millions. 20% of them actually make money. Big shocker, I'm gonna give you guys a truth of life. Are you guys ready for it? Life's not fair. I know it's revolutionary. And things are proportional. Like 20% of the NFL players make 80% of the salary. So all I'm making a point is 80%, the 20-80 paradigm, the Pareto principle is everywhere. Who here is a salesperson in this room? Josh, have you ever done a Pareto analysis on your clientele? Yeah, 80% of your commissions come from 20% of your clients. So what do? You focus on your 20%. Same thing here. So all you gotta realize is not all things are equal, and this is huge for a student. In school, you get rewarded equally for every task. In the real world, not every task is equal. So you gotta find out the biggest levers that you can pull. Not all the right answers are equal. They're equally important. So what you're looking for is asymmetric payoffs. Some people get mad about the 80%. They make signs, they protest, they get angry. Doesn't do that much for them. So they can do them, I'm gonna do me, and I'm just gonna accept the 80% everywhere and work with it. So here is how it actually works. Here's a couple truths you have to accept. You wanna get the first 80% done as fast as possible. And generally, 80% of the time, your first 80% works. It's a waste of time doing the back 20% by yourself without collaborators. So you want to delegate and receive feedback as fast as possible. Part of the reason I wanted to introduce the team is, I guess when the business first started, I would come up with the first 80%. The back 20% would be garbage, but I'd still sell it anyway because it was fun. But it left people frustrated and angry. These slides today, I did 80% of it, and then Susie made everything pretty. Anything that looks nice was Susie. And now in business, how we run is we don't expect our first cut of anything, we definitely don't expect perfection. We get the first 80% done as fast as possible, then we throw it out at the market, see what comes back. Here's the amazing thing. You got this first 80%, you just take a big swath at it, right? And then somebody else does the next 80% of the 20% that's left. And then somebody else does the next 80%. And it keeps getting passed among team members until it's a very good, workable product. But we wait for data from the market to tell us. How many of you are like, oh my God, in the shower, I have $1 million ideas. I have waterproof paper and a pencil in my shower to make sure my good ideas don't go down the drain. But those shower notes become the first 80%. Raise your hand if you think you have $1 million ideas. But why do they just stay ideas? It's hard to do things without a team, but two, you just don't get that first 80% done. All my mistakes in the beginning, all my mistakes I'm making right now, I'm embarrassed about them, but I'm not ashamed. I don't care. I think they're kind of awesome. I forgot I owned a house. Don't care. It's hilarious. We make a joke out of it. So the target when you're first starting out, it's not to get a home run. I would expect to be embarrassed but not ashamed by your first five efforts at this. But you will learn so much, it will become so valuable. This is one of my favorite quotes. Who's read Principles by Ray Dalio? If you aren't shocked by how stupid you were last year, you haven't learned that much. So who here in this room would consider them a perfectionist? Okay, you guys got to get rid of that stuff. Fast. Here's the problem with perfectionists. You guys expect achieving the ideal as a minimum requirement. There's no points for being perfectionists. The next danger is procrastination. Procrastinators, they want a guaranteed ideal result. Christy, in your real estate therapy sessions with people, do you believe that people expected an ideal guaranteed result?
Yes.
That doesn't happen in real life. So that's why people procrastinate. They're searching for an ideal guaranteed result. Like, anybody who can sell you that's lying to you. They're bullshitting. So can't be perfect, can't expect ideal results. The reason it's so dangerous is because it affects your confidence. So here's advantage number one. Your first attempt is always 80% no matter what you do. Believe this or not, in college when I had to write a paper, I would do it the night before. Because I'm like, if I have 2 weeks, the first thing I do is gonna be I have 2 weeks to create a 80% rough draft, or I could give myself 12 hours and do it. Generally, the result was gonna be about the same.
Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you make over $300K per year, I think my program could be great for you. We're gonna find beat up houses, like this one behind me that we just started rehab in. I don't know if the video is doing justice to how bad these floors is. And then let me take you through a spin here. This is the kitchen. Don't notice there is no kitchen. But our investors love deals like this because they know in 3 weeks, this is going to be a beautiful kitchen waiting for either a new homeowner or a new resident to rent. So if you're interested in investing in real estate in a completely passive manner and want someone to find the house, to fix the house, to find a tenant, or help you sell it, click the link below to book a call.